A multi-million rand contract from an important state entity, a dodgy property development, and finally, an alleged attempt by a top government official to bribe this journalist, all caught on camera. I'm Pieter-Louis Myburgh, investigative journalist at Daily Maverick. Today we'll unpack the most extraordinary series of developments regarding Tebogo Malaka, CEO of the Independent Development Trust, or IDT, a project management agency that delivers social infrastructure projects on behalf of the Department of Public Works and other client departments. I'll show you how Malaka and the IDT spokesperson met me at a restaurant in the Cape Winelands, where they presented me with a substantial wad of cash. The circumstances around Malaka's actions leave little doubt that this was an alleged attempt to bribe a journalist, one who has been looking into the IDT CEO's most questionable dealings. Let's jump back to where this all began. My work on the IDT originally focused on an 800 million rand tender to install oxygen plants at government hospitals across South Africa. We detailed several shortcomings in the bid process and revealed that the main contractor was little more than a shell, a ghost company that was by no means equipped or prepared to deliver on a project of this magnitude. Thankfully, the oxygen plants contract was cancelled, but it seemed like there was a lot more happening at the IDT than just that. Sources familiar with the IDT and its CEO's dealings urged me to look at Tebogo Malaka's financial affairs, especially those pertaining to a property portfolio. In April this year, we revealed that Malaka had somehow very rapidly acquired several assets worth millions of rands, including a couple of properties. The properties were brought through Malaka's trusts. Curiously, there were no bank loans registered to the properties, which meant Malaka had somehow come up with millions of rands in cash. One property in particular caught my attention. In mid-2023, one of Malaka's trusts paid 3.6 million rand for a sprawling plot inside Gauteng's upmarket Waterfall country estate. Nearly a year later, in around June 2024, the plot was cleared of vegetation. A few months later, a construction firm appeared on the scene to start building Malaka's new pad. In all, Malaka's trust was set to spend at least 12 million rand on the project, again raising questions as to how the IDT CEO was laying her hands on so much money. Then, in April this year, I made an important breakthrough.
So this next story is quite complex. We'll try and simplify as we go along. But let's talk now to the investigative journalist who carried out this investigation and wrote that story at the Daily Maverick, Pieter-Louis Myburgh.
The IDT is one of those kind of important and kind of prominent, actually, state bodies that for many years has kind of slipped under the radar, really. We haven't really focused on them as much as a Transnet or an Eskom or those kind of bodies, but they are nevertheless very important. They slot in under the Department of Public Works and they act as these, as I've mentioned before, implementing agent for the likes of the Department of Health and also the Department of Public Works.
My investigation unearthed links between Malaka's new house and an IDT contractor, raising suspicions that the IDT CEO had improper financial dealings with a company doing business with her organization. Slowly, I managed to gather more and more information linking the IDT contractor to Malaka's Waterfall property. Judging by what happened next, we can only assume that word of my inquiries somehow made it back to Malaka or to someone close to her. In June 2025, the IDT spokesperson, Phasha Makgolane, contacted me out of the blue. He said he had something sensitive to discuss with me. Makgolane said he didn't want to talk over the phone and that he would fly from Joburg to Cape Town to come and meet me. The spokesman said that this first meeting would be in preparation for a second meeting where his boss, Malaka, would also be present. Makgolane told me that we would discuss mutual matters. Makgolane's approach and language immediately triggered alarm bells. I informed my editors about Makgolane's messages, and we decided that it would be best for me to hear what the IDT spokesperson had to say. 2 days later, Makgolane hopped on a plane and met me at a restaurant in the Cape Winelands. What the IDT spokesperson told me during the meeting confirmed my suspicions. After a few pleasantries and some idle chit-chat, Makgolane told me that his boss would pay me if I decided to work with him. Makgolane effectively implied that they would reward me if I wrote positive stories on Malaka and the IDT. In other words, I had to drop my investigation into a property. Astonishingly, Makgolane said that they would pay me in cash, but that I could earn even more money by bringing my own contractors to the IDT for lucrative tenders. After this meeting, I again spoke to my editors, and we then wrote detailed statements about everything that had transpired up to that point. We also roped in our lawyers and notified them of the developments. I also made a statement to a well-known advocate. Our plan was to string Makgolane and Malaka along, making them believe that I was genuinely considering their proposal. The situation presented a very rare opportunity. We could document the shocking lengths to which a top government official would go in order to bury a story that would no doubt cause her a world of trouble. Makgolane, meanwhile, began to prepare the ground for me to bring my own contractors to the IDT, just as he'd promised. A few days after our first meeting, he sent me a document detailing an IDT tender in the Western Cape. The document invited contractors to submit bids for the IDT's contractor development program. Makgolane invited me to check the bid details and share it with contractors. Throughout June and July, we started preparing for my scheduled meeting with Malaka and Makgolane. We appointed a security and forensics firm to handle some of the logistics, sought additional legal advice, and hashed out all the possible scenarios and unforeseen events that might scupper our planned project. We drafted sworn statements that explained our intentions. The affidavits were deposed to by me, my editor, and by one of our attorneys. Finally, on Sunday, 3 August 2025, I had my meeting with the IDT CEO and the entity spokesperson, Makgolane. They had taken morning flights from Joburg to Cape Town, and our meeting took place at the same restaurant near Stellenbosch. Things had changed quite drastically since my last meeting with the spokesperson. Malaka had just recently been suspended by the IDT's board over the oxygen plants scandal that we'd exposed last year. However, Malaka was evidently still very anxious about my latest investigation into a waterfall property. She clearly didn't want this story to ever see the light of day.
So I just want to close this chapter.
Yeah, no, sure.
And I think I will need you to close this chapter.
Yeah, no, sure.
It's too much.
Yes, yeah, no, there's been a lot.
I
Yeah.
have kids, I have parents. My parents are old.
Mm.
They were sick, they couldn't sleep over the last weekend.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Sure, no, absolutely, yeah, no.
Bad.
Yeah, so,
I just thought, because some of the things I can't speak in front of Phasha,
Oh.
as much as I trust him, I'm his boss.
oh, okay,
So
okay.
I thought, let me.
I was wondering about that. Now, did you decide beforehand to break up and then just me and you talk, or, yeah?
No.
Okay, yeah. Okay, no, sure.
So you will advise me
Yeah,
how we move forward.
yes. So, okay, well, I think Phasha initiated the discussion with me, I think it was early June. And obviously at that point, I assume that's kind of the issue here is the waterfall house. I'm quite advanced with that, to be honest. I'll be frank with you.
I want it closed. I
Yeah.
don't want you to be writing about it.
Mm.
I don't want anything
Yeah.
more coming out of.
Mm,
Let's
yeah.
have peace for a moment.
Yeah, no, sure. Let me give Phasha a call quickly. It's getting a little bit windier now.
But it's still not cold.
That's nice,
cold
yeah.
there.
Hey, Phasha.
We are done.
Yeah, your boss says you must come back.
After we'd spoken about the house and some other issues, Makgolane and Malaka got down to the day's real business. The IDT spokesperson pulled out a white Dior shopping bag stuffed with 200 Rand notes and placed it on the table. This while his suspended boss sat looking on. I asked them how much money they brought for me, and they said it was 60,000 Rand. But they also intimated that there would be more money coming my way if I dropped my investigation into Malaka's house. After the cash had been placed on the table, I casually photographed it for our records. Next, I duly informed Malaka and Makgolane that I wouldn't be taking the alleged bribe after all. I told them that it had always been my intention to get them to present me with the cash, and that I had never intended to take it. And then just like that, our meeting was over. I promptly stood up and left. Makgolane and Malaka, meanwhile, were in a hurry to get out of there too. At roughly 2 p.m, they got up and left the restaurant area. So, what then of Malaka's waterfall property, the issue the IDT CEO so desperately wanted to bury? Next week, Daily Maverick will publish a month-long investigation into a new house. We'll detail how it is linked to a prominent Gauteng businessman and IDT contractor. Be sure not to miss our next exclusive exposé.